gonna start seated, but anything that I'm doing, you could do sitting on the floor or you could be lying down. I just wanna show it seated. You could even do it standing up if you were like really wanting to go for it. So first, just taking a moment, maybe to come into your body a little bit. Mm. Mm. Noticing how the body's feeling in this moment with this fresh day ahead of us. Mm. Noticing the weather systems outside, weather systems inside. Mm. And then thinking about water, since our theme is watering the garden of the heart, and thinking about the water element in our body. Um, Water being all that's the water element of the body being all that's fluid and moving in the body. So this could be the blood, the lymph fluid that carries our white blood cells, all the fluids in our stomach and intestine that make things happen, all the work our kidneys are doing to purify the fluid that's coming through the kidneys that becomes urine, the saliva, the moistness of the eyes, just all this fluid motion happening all the time in the body. And of course, the heart pumping our blood, as I said. So one kind of fluid that I learned about through the yoga tradition was synovial fluid, which some of you probably know a lot more about than I do. But it's this fluid in the joints that almost like if you've ever seen The Wizard of Oz, the Tin Man needs to keep putting oil on his joints so that they won't squeak. So we're going to do a little movement this morning that is kind of puts a little oil, warms up the synovial fluid in the joints so our joints have a little more mobility maybe. And you know your body best. So for example, if you have a broken wrist and I offer that we'll move the wrist, you just do whatever feels right in your body. Yeah, all our bodies are showing up differently. So we might start with the feet. I like starting with the feet. I start seated and I bring the foot up to me because it feels easier that way. This may not be accessible for you with whatever's happening in your hip and your knee. So you can also come down to the foot, reaching. You can also, if you're like, that is still not accessible, my friend. Sometimes it can be helpful to put like a pillow or something and just put the foot up on it and not reach towards it, but just use the pillow to do some motion in the ankle and the toes and the foot. Okay, so you don't have to reach. There's a few options there. I might back up a little so I can demo that better. So if you have the foot on a pillow, you might just start by pointing and flexing the foot and rotating, trying to move the individual toes. If you've brought the foot up to you or you're reaching down to the foot, you might start by just gently massaging the foot. Gently working the foot. These feet, they do so much for us. It is unbelievable. It's truly amazing. You might come through each toe, the joints in the toe, and just wiggle each toe, giving it a little pull on the end. You might weave the fingers through the toes so that you end up with the fingers in between the toes. And just get some rotation. Getting into the ankle joint a little bit, getting into the toes. One of my teachers says this is like shaking hands with your foot. It's like, good morning. And then you might, if you have the fingers woven in there, you might spread them out and pull them out. Yeah. And even taking the foot from either side. So one of my thumbs is kind of under the pinky and one of my thumbs is under the big toe, and then moving laterally. So instead of moving this way, which we can do, point and flex, moving laterally in the foot, just give it a little wiggle, a little wag, like your toes wagging, like your foot's wagging its tail. Then I like to give a little tap. And you might compare, I mean, you can keep going if you want to keep going with this foot. For me, I'm going to just pause and compare and notice, what can I feel in that foot I just worked with? What feels different or similar to my other foot? Where attention goes, energy flows. So we're focusing our attention on the feet, and I notice in my body right now a lot of sensation and energy in the foot. We can do the same on the other foot. Again, I recognize that my knee and my hip allow me to do this. You can even just stack multiple pillows, kind of put the foot up here and just kind of be rolling in the ankle and pointing and flexing the foot if that feels more accessible for you, for your body. For me, I'm gonna come back up, massage out the foot, pull and wiggle each toe. I'm going to weave my fingers in between the toes, get them down to the extent that I can without pain or strain. No pain or strain with this movement this morning. This is just meant to be a gentle wake up. I'm going to rotate a little bit, like I'm shaking hands with my foot. Get the ankle in there. Point and flex. Find out what feels good for you. Spreading the fingers wide to pull them out of the toes. You might take those thumbs again to either side and kind of wag the foot, or not. And giving any more rubs that you feel like your foot needs. I like to give my ankles this little rub. And when you're ready, if you want, some taps. And then noticing again, what's flowing? Where is there sensation? Where is sensation dancing in the body? Offering gratitude. Many of us wake up and it's not like the body feels like a clean slate. For many of us, we wake up and there's some discomfort, maybe some pain, some injury. That's natural and normal. The body gets injured, the body gets sick. That's what it's like to have a body. and to recognize that, can we hold with gentleness and gratitude all the things our body is still doing, still moving, still healing. Really complex system that's showing up pretty beautifully if we're alive and breathing. If a lot is going right in the body. So moving into the knees a little bit, I have some knee injuries. So I can't model a full expression of what moving your knees might look like. So maybe for you, if you want to stand, you can stand and kind of move around with the knees like this. I can't, that's not accessible for my body. So if you're trying to stay seated, I just kind of rock my knees side to side. If you want to get up and give them a big circle, that's cool. Might even just support the leg under the thigh and point and flex the knee. Just imagining your Tin Man with that oil can. Just oiling up that knee joint, real gentle. You don't have to bring your leg up here. It can be super low, really low. Your foot can stay on the ground and just slide that foot back and forth. That warms up the knee, just sliding back and forth like this. Beautiful. And noticing the impact of that movement in the body. Just breathing and noticing. I need a sip of water. Feel free to take care of yourself in that way. Okay, so we've moved from the knees. The knee bone's connected to the hip bone. So we'll do a little hip action. If you would like to stay seated, a nice movement might be to kind of rock back and forth in the hips. Just tilt and forward, tilt and forward a little bit in the hips. Or you could rock side to side in the hips. If you like standing and this is accessible to you, you could do some circles at the hips. Also, you know your body better than I do. So if you have a particular hip motion that you love, just do that. You might switch directions, whatever you're doing. If you've been doing big hip circles, which kind of gets into the back and spine a little bit, you might see what it's like to do pretty small hip circles that are just really the hip bowl moving. And pausing and noticing whatever you feel. So the spine has many, many, many joints, and we're going to come back to the spine. I want to work out the or warm up the shoulders and neck and wrists a little bit first, and I'll do the spine last because the spine is, you want to be very gentle with the spine. So that's my feeling, that if you want to rock some spine action, go for you. You can do this sitting. Definitely don't have to stand for this portion if you're feeling tired, if your body just expended enough energy. We'll do you can put your hands on your shoulders, just some gentle rolls to the back. Again, you got a shoulder injury, just do the one shoulder that can. This doesn't feel good at all, just rub your shoulders, rub that shoulder joint. Make it your own for your own body. And of course, this can be done seated or lying down. You might just shrug the shoulders up and down if you're lying down. And switching some direction. Yeah, this can be as big, like you're swimming, or as small as you like. Might do a little shoulder shrug action. Ooh. Ooh. And when you're ready, just pause, just notice. And notice the body, notice what's happening. No pain, no strain. Moving in our natural range of motion right now. Let's come to the wrists. And you might clasp your wrists in the way that feels weird. So if this is the natural way, just shift them a little. So you're clasping in a way that feels wonky, like you're holding someone else's hand. Of course, this can be done seated, lying down. I'm just standing because that's what feels good for my body. You're warming up the joint, warming up the synovial fluid. And then you might take the wrists, clasp, and just press gently upwards. That will get into your shoulders, wrists, and elbows. I'm going to kneel for a second so you can see. See if you can take that thumb side and press it toward the ceiling a little bit. Pinky side, thumb side, pinky side, thumb side. Or you could do a little elbow movement. And when you're ready, lowering the arms slowly, feeling for all the sensations that are happening in the arms as you drop the arms. How slow can you go? How much can you feel? It's not a competition, it's just a question. Noticing. Great, let's get into the neck a little bit. I like to pretend I have a pencil at the tip of my nose, and I'm just drawing some very small circles to start. And as my neck starts to feel a little more comfortable, a little more warmed up, my circles get a little bigger. Again, if moving in this way on the joints here does not feel good, just bring some loving touch, a little gentle massage, a gentle rub. That can go a long way. You might switch directions. All right. Any other neck motions that you enjoy or like, feel free to mix in. I'm going to pause here, but you can keep rocking with that if you like. Just pausing maybe to take in the water element. Can you sense and feel where the fluid is moving through the body? Our bodies, like our planet, are mostly water. Just feeling that flowing body that is you. Even while still, when we think we're still, lots of motion happening in the body. All right, let's come back to the spine. Few options for the spine. Please do what feels good for you. If you already know what you like to do, go ahead and rock it. If you're seated, you can just do some pressing up and pressing away, pressing the chest forward and then pressing away. If we're standing or if we're seated, it might look like doing some twisting side to side very gently. Maybe with the knees a little bit bent and the arms loose at the sides. Looking for pain-free range of motion. If it's accessible to you, another motion that I really enjoy, which comes from this yogic tradition, is to bring the arms up and then the movement's coming through the spine. We're doing like a wave in the spine. So the chest sticks out and the hips go back as I come down. And then when I'm about halfway, my hips come forward and I roll up the spine a little bit. Chest out, hips back, and then hips forward, rolling out the spine, making like a little wave, if that feels accessible. Yeah. Taking a moment for any last movements or motions you'd like to do. I notice when I start warming up the body starts talking to me and telling me, stretch me, do this, do that. So do any stretches, motions, movements that call to you. It might be bringing some bouncing into the body, just releasing. It might be some self-massage or a favorite stretch. What will help your body feel supported this morning? And then when you're ready, finding a place of stillness to come back to. I really do mean when you're ready. Don't feel pressured by my sitting. Do you, if you want to keep moving. I always think I should do this every morning, but it's so much easier to do it when all of you are here with me. I don't know why that is. So pausing to touch in and notice what's happening in the body now that we've brought some motion, movement, attention, care to the body what's happening. For some of us, the body isn't always a place that feels comfortable to touch into, to notice. We may think, am I supposed to be feeling something? Because I don't feel much of anything. Or what may arise is all the thoughts we can have about our body, evaluations and judgments. So let's just see if maybe together for these last moments together, can we offer our bodies the same kindness and compassion that we offer other bodies? Whatever the body's doing right now, it's just like this. Right now, it's like this. And if we're awake and breathing, something is going right in the body, big time. See if you can soften your belly a little bit. So often we can have tightness or holding there. See if you can just let it go a little, just soften a little bit in the belly. It's okay to be in this body right now. Maybe it can be okay to be in this body right now.